everyone, welcome to SST College of Arts and Commerce. This is SST Edupedia. I am Assistant Professor Deepika Valecha from Department of Banking and Insurance. Today we will be learning about residential status of an individual assessee, which is a topic relating to course direct tax of second year banking and insurance program. Also, it is a topic in SYBCBI and MCom, also in SYBCBI. Now let's see what is the meaning of residential status of an individual assessee. First of all, assessee refers to a person who is supposed to pay the tax to the government. Now here, in a category of person, we do have n number of categories, which includes individual, Hindu undivided family, person, Hindu undivided family, then also we have a firm, company, a body corporate, and also we have association of persons and body of individuals. So here the income of any individual depends upon the residential status of an individual, not on the basis of citizenship. A person may be a citizen of India, but if he does not satisfies the basic condition of being a resident in a particular previous year, then he may be termed as non-resident. Here, the chargeability of the tax totally depends on the residential status. So first of all, a person needs to satisfy the basic condition which are mentioned under section 6 subsection 1 of Income Tax Act 1961. Here, if basic condition is satisfied by an individual assessee, he will be termed as resident individual for that particular previous year. Now currently we are in the assessment year 23-24. Here the previous year will be 22-23. That means we need to check whether an assessee is a resident in the previous year 2022 and 23. If he doesn't satisfy the basic condition, then he will be termed as non-resident. Further, if he satisfies the condition and if he is a resident individual, then further he needs to satisfy the additional conditions which are mentioned under section 6 subsection 6 clause A of Income Tax Act 1961. If he satisfies the same, then that person or an individual will be termed as resident and ordinary resident. But if he does not satisfy such conditions, then he will be termed as resident but not an ordinary resident. Now let's see what are the basic conditions which are required to be fulfilled. Number one, here in basic conditions we have two conditions. It is important to satisfy any one of the basic condition to be a resident individual. First condition is an individual is in India for at least 182 days during the previous year. At least a person should be in India for 182 days or more than that, or 2A condition is related to an individual is in India for at least 60 days during the previous year, and also he is in India for at least 365 days during the 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. Now in our example, we have a previous year of 22-23. So prior to 22-23, immediate for previous year, here the person, an individual must be here for 365 days or more. Now further, we do have some of the exceptions to these basic conditions. If an individual satisfies those conditions, that will be termed as a resident, and if it is not, then he will be called as non-resident. What are the exceptions? What do you mean by exceptions? It refers to certain cases where the condition of 60 days in 2A condition will be extended to 182 days. Now, certain exceptional cases are if any Indian citizen leaves India for the purpose of either job, employment, or as a member of Indian crew, and also a person of Indian origin who come to India for any purpose. What do you mean by Indian origin? A person whose birth is not done in India, but his elders, his parents are related, are connected with the India. For example, Mr. A is born and brought up in UK, but his mother and father belongs to India. They are Indian. So that Mr. A will be called as he may be a citizen of US, but he is also considered to be a person of Indian origin. So in that case, we need to consider 182 days in 2A condition also. Now, continuing further, we have additional conditions which are mentioned under section 6, subsection 6, clause A. Further, if an individual resident satisfies the basic condition, then further he needs to satisfy additional conditions also to be a resident and ordinary resident. Both the additional condition which says, number 1, an individual has been a resident in India for at least 2 out of 10 years immediately preceding the previous year, and also he has been in India for at least 730, that is 730 days during 7 years immediately preceding the previous year. If he satisfies both the conditions, then he will be termed as resident and ordinary resident, and if not, then he will be called as resident but not an ordinary resident. Now, let's see one of the practical example with the condition whether Mr. John, a US citizen, fulfills the conditions and whether he is resident for previous year or not. We have a question relating to Mr. John, a US citizen, came to India for the first time on 10th July 2022 for the purpose of visit and went back to US on 11th February 2023. We need to find out whether he was resident in the previous year 2022-23 or not. Now, first of all, how we are going to write the question as per the exam pattern. First of all, we need to write the name of the assessee. The name of assessee is Mr. John. In our example, current assessment year is 2023-24. We have a previous year which is 22-23, for which we need to find out whether he is a resident or not, and also we need to see the legal status. Legal status is an individual. Then further, we will be writing the basic conditions. As we have already discussed, what are the basic conditions? A person is required, an individual is required to satisfy any one of the basic condition of section 6 subsection 1. Either he may be in India for more than 182 days, or if not, then we need to see whether he was in India for at least 60 days, along with which he should be in India for at least 365 days during the 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. Now, we will calculate how many days he was there in India for the previous year 2022 and 23. As already stated in the example, see, he came to India on 10th July for the first time. Before that, he didn't came to India at any time. So, here in the previous year 22-23, which starts on 1st April 2022, here he came on 10th July and went back on 11th February 23. So from 10th July till 11th February 23, he was in India only. Now we will calculate how many days he was there in India. In July, he came on 10th July. So we need to consider and include the day on which he came. That means 10th July as well. So here in July month we do have total 31 days. Out of 31 days, he was there from 10th till 31. So in all we have 22 days. August, September, October, November, December and January, he was in India only for all the days. And in February, he left India on 11th of February. So he was in India for 11 days. So by totaling or summing up all these values, we get 217 days. So as per this 217, if we can see, the Mr. John is able to satisfy first condition of 182 days. So that means Mr. John is a resident individual for the previous year 22-23. Further, if any individual is a resident, then we have to also apply the additional conditions of section 6 subsection 6 clause A. Here if we can see, there was a hint given in the question that Mr. John came for the first time in India. That means prior to this he was not there at all. So simply we can say that he is not able to satisfy the additional conditions. So therefore the Mr. John will be considered as resident but not an ordinary resident for previous year 22-23. Now in this way only we will be having the various questions based on the individual assessees details about how many days the person was in India, and accordingly we need to calculate and do the practical example as per this method. We need to write the details of the assessee, then we need to write the basic conditions as per the section 6 subsection 1, and then we need to do the calculation, and finally we need to give the conclusion. So in this way a residential status of an individual is determined. I hope this particular topic is clear to all. Thank you.